Robots are part of a rapidly advancing future of high technology. They save people, work in extreme conditions, replace live communication, and much more. From servants to mentors, robots develop at an extremely fast pace, and this is all thanks to the guys who create them. The heroes of this program know a lot about physics, mathematics, chemistry, and the other exact sciences, and are trying to create something new with their own hands. Not ordinary, but very interesting. Robotics is an applied industry that is dedicated to automated systems and the creation of robots. The term was first used by science fiction writer Isaac Asimov way back in 1941 in his novel I, Robot. Robotics in some industries in Ukraine is gaining certain popularity. The Kiev Polytechnic Institute works in many fields and invents a lot. I did not study at KPI, but nevertheless, I'm also interested in this work. Robotics is interesting because if a person seeks to develop himself or herself, robotics can certainly help with that. It helps to develop both the mathematical and the creative sides of a person. There, a person develops in all possible spheres. Since I was a child, I had no predisposition to anything. I was a D student. I didn't show good results in mathematics or physics. I was interested in the network computers, namely networks. I once saw an Arduino board. I saw what you can do with it, what you can do with robots, quadcopters and 3D printers. I bought an Arduino board and began to tinker with it a bit, and I came to the conclusion that the knowledge that I had received in school was just not enough, and that it needs to be developed. That's why I started doing not only robotics, but also circuitry, and this gave impetus to further advancement.
К дальнейшему продвижению.
In early childhood, many kids disassembled toys. Some broke down, and even when they did not break down, it was just interesting to see how they work. But as usual, one never really manages to put them back together. My interest in robotics was there from an early age, but it did not manifest itself because there were no such possibilities at the time. In Ukraine, there are many schools where children are taught robotics, and not just children, but also adults. There are a lot of robotics centers in such cities as Kiev, Kharkiv, Dnipro and Odessa. You can study at home, but it's difficult because there must be an implementer and you need a special software program in your computer. Well, generally children can practice at school, then buy themselves some implementers and study at home to improve their knowledge. Robotics can be divided into several classes. There are manipulators, exoskeleton robots, and automatic robots that already completely emulate the human species and can perform the same actions as a human being. Manipulators and exoskeletons were developed a long time ago thanks to the piston system, and the exoskeleton is mostly built on pistons. The last type is generally gaining popularity all over the world nowadays. If we talk about robotics, we should start from the very beginning. It is a standard flashing LED or light bulbs. It's not just some robotic manipulators that are started up and can do something instead of a human being.
Какие-то роботы-манипуляторы, которые начинают там что-то делать за человека.
Quite often I hear some say, I wish there was a robot that can do everything instead of me, but nobody knows how much work should be done to make this become a reality. At the beginning it would be just nice to flip the LED, then start to study the parts of the robot, how the hands move, how it's all used, the mechanics of spare parts. It all started when I bought an Arduino card and then I saw a quadcopter. When I started to get a grasp of what the quadcopter is and what it's capable of doing, I saw that there were some printed parts on a 3D printer. Then the quadcopter was no longer my priority. Instead it was a 3D printer. So during my third month of getting familiar with robotics, I started building my own 3D printer. It's quite an integral part in the construction of robots, because a 3D printer allows you to make the prototypes, wheels, hands, and manipulators, etc. I encountered difficulties while creating my 3D printers. I didn't know where to buy the spare parts for it. My father helped me with this. He advised me to go and find these parts at the local market. Well, the second thing was programming. I already knew a couple of programming languages by that time, but to understand the logic of all the mechanisms of microcontrollers, one just has to slightly readjust the way of thinking.
Мені це цікаво, я не знаю, бо це легше, це не треба нікуди вставати, не треба нічого.
I'm interested in it because it's easier. You do not have to get up and go somewhere. All you need to do is use your brain to create something from scratch. It happens sometimes that I can sit up all night because there is an idea and you don't want to go to bed until you bring that idea to fruition. I helped people fix their computers, and these days I'm more into software.
Це більше в мене з програмним забезпеченням, ніж з якимись саме частинами, щось збирати вручну. Взагалі я студент Києво-Могилянської академії.
I'm a student of the Kiev-Mogilya Academy. I got my bachelor's degree in applied mathematics. We had a lot of programming there, and I did even more programming when I was getting my master's degree. While studying, we had laboratory work and we wrote different programs, but they were so unpretentious and very simple.
Писали різні програми, ну вони всі такі простенькі.
In the world, there are many exhibitions on robotics, and Ukraine is not an exception. It's interesting that the guys set a goal for themselves, and over time they implemented it, and then they showed some of their developments at the exhibition. We have different hackerspaces that allowed for studying robotics. It helped me a lot. For example, I didn't know the basics of soldering, so I went to a hackerspace and they helped me out and taught me how to do this. There are quite a lot of such spaces that allow one to study robotics. They are mostly at technical universities. The main thing is that there are many people who can actually help you. These days, IT is so advanced that all you have to do is punch in some special phrases in Google in your computer, and it will open up for you many different sites on which you will most likely find what you need.
Могут помочь, и таких людей много. Нужно лишь загуглить там какие-то пару фраз.